Okay, so we are here again. So we're finishing up the spreadsheet now. So what we're going to be doing today is looking at some of the items that gives us the marks in the spreadsheet, so you ensure that you have that present in your SBA, as well as finish up some of the final items, some of the pie chart and stuff like that. So when we finish with this video today, we should be complete to the entire spreadsheet ready for marking. Alright, so I have right here on my screen same spreadsheet item that was issued. Alright, so this is the same SBA item. Alright, so we're just looking at it coming down, not in full detail, but just based on what we have covered. So we have task 1, right? Bear in mind, task 1 should be done on its own sheet, like this. So we have admittance 1 here. We should only have the progress for task 1 up to here. So I see some people submit some things where they have one sheet only with the entire thing. I'm supposed to be able to see the progress that you have made. So once you have admittance 1 here, it's supposed to be only showing up to this point without any headings and with the full 30 names. Again, disclosure for mine, I'm only using 20 names here. Alright, so you're supposed to have the full 30 going down. Good? For task 2, we call task 2 admittance sheet 2, right? And that is where we introduce the number of symptoms and the isolation. So those two were the main 2 items that we did in task 2, alright? And we can see that here. For our admittance 2, we put in the number of symptoms, and we use our counting formula, and we also put in a if statement with an and for the intensive care and the isolation. So admittance 2 sheet here should only show up to this point right here with the first heading up here on this sheet. Alright, and then task 3 now is where we gave it the full admittance complete 3 name, and that is where we got most of the work done. So this is where we put in the expenses and the total expenses and so forth. So as you can see on my admittance complete 3, I have all my expenses over here, so my total coverage and amount to be paid. Alright, so if you want to see this in detail, you can watch the second spreadsheet. I think it was the first SBA sheet that we did, the first SBA video that we did. Alright, so we use the if statements for all of the expenses, right? And you can look through it for yourself up to that point, right? For this sheet now, I broadened my heading to cover the up to the edge of the sheet, and I also put in a little logo right here, so just to make it look more professional. So bear in mind now, the name that you're using here for the spreadsheet, I am a Ministry of Health. I'm supposed to be using it for the entire SBA. So if I'm doing the brochure, that's what I'm supposed to have with the same with the same logo. If I'm doing the website, I'm supposed to have the same company name with the same logo. Anything I'm doing pertaining to this SBA for your individual one, whatever is in one page should be in the other. So if this is one logo you have, it's supposed to be used throughout the SBA. The name of the company, use the same one throughout the SBA. Alright, so just to be clear, so you're not supposed to have 4 different SBAPs with 4 different hospital name with 4 different logo, that type of thing. Alright, so your spreadsheet should be looking like this. Notice on yours, you had the key down here, right, as I previously showed you, but as I mentioned in that video as well, you didn't have to have this key down here now. Look here, I put my key over in a different tab over here, so by itself, right? And I can still refer to it. So for example, if I was using the intensive care formula, we have if I-25 greater than 1 and E25 greater than 9. So here, so I would have a key and the cell address. When it was on here, so it was just C6. It only had C6 here, so. But because now it's on a different sheet, so all I had to do here, let me just do it here, so just to show you that it can be done. So all I have to do here now, when it requires me to press the isolation or the intensive care, all I have to do is just switch to the next key, or to the next tab here, so, and it will put it in automatically for me. So I would have intensive care, so you see the key come on by itself, or isolation, and you see the key come on by itself. Alright, so it's still the same C6, B6, it's just like this is showing that this is on the key sheet with the exclamation sign, key sheet with the exclamation sign, meaning that it's coming from my key sheet because I named the key down here. So, alright, And it's a simple process to name it. In case you're wondering, you can just put the cursor on it, right click, and rename. Right? So all of them supposed to be appropriately named, like we see now here. So, alright. So for this one, it should be looking like this. You should be having all of your expenses, all your totals, everything adding up. You put in the totals down here as well. So you can put the total down here for each column coming down. So all my bed expenses, this is the total for my bed expense. This is the total for my meal expense, the total for the medication, the total for the equipment. So I just add up all of them going across, alright? Just to make it look neat and presentable and show that I have all my information there. So for this now, let me show you what I've been looking for, what I've been marking for. Appropriate heading here, so meaning you use a merge and center across to put in a heading with appropriate font size. Don't make it too big, don't make it too small, don't put in a way of color to make it distracting. So you get marked for that, and the insertion of the picture here, so for the logo, you get marked for that as well. You will get marked for putting in the correct number of names. So if I tell you to put in 30 names, you're supposed to put in 30 appropriate names, right? Notice that all my names have started at first with a capital letter for the first letters, because that's a professional way of doing it. So that's how I want it to be done as well. Alright, so once you have all your data in and it's properly formatted, meaning your date of birth is properly formatted, I can read the date of birth and it looks exactly like how I expect it to look, and I can interpret it. You get marks for that as well. You get marks for if you have any money, anything with the currency, as long as you have the dollar sign on it, you get marks for that as well. Meaning that I just don't want to see a raw 98,000, so it's supposed to have the dollar sign on it, right? So if you only have the numbers there, you can just block the data that you want, go to home, and hit the dollar sign right here, so, and that will bring out the dollar signs for you, right? So you get marks for that as well. Alright, there's a count if formula here that has to be used properly, so that you get the number of symptoms here. You get marks for that function. There's also an if statement, and an if statement with an and in it, so you get marks for that if statement as well. You get marks for the collective use of the if statements in the expenses here, so because these are other if statements. If you notice, these if statements don't have the and, so the intensive care one, there's an and in it, so I can mark this one different from the ones that don't have the and. So all of these if statements, you get a mark for it. This if statement with the and, you get a mark for it. These count if statements, you get a mark for it, right? And you get marks for the simple functions, like the equal version, like this minus this O6 minus P6, you can get a mark for that. That's a simple formula. Alright, so a VLOOKUP, and you get marks for this VLOOKUP. It's a very important VLOOKUP function. You get marks for that as well. Alright, bear in mind you must put in a formula for each section that it's supposed to, so don't feel like you can shortcut it. Right, so bear in mind when I'm marking it, I'm just going to go like this, and this will display all the formulas that you're supposed to have in here. Meaning that at any point in here, so you just type in a 24 or type in the figure, I'm going to know, because I'm not going to see the formula coming up like it is here. Alright, so this way I can look at it and I can know that your formulas are consistent. So you can see all your formulas consistent. I can open out to see the entire set of formulas to ensure that all of them are consistent. All of them are doing what they're supposed to be doing. You see all of mine reading from my key, so all of them reading from the key, because I put the key, my key, on a different sheet. Right, so you'll be getting marks for that as well. Good. You get marks for how you format your page as well. Don't have the thing just spread out, just like how I had it like this. Right, you see it spread out like this. We don't have a space here, so unnecessary space. So if it is that you look at it and you see that you have unnecessary space here, so it can come over, you don't have to try bring it in and then you cut off something, and then you're going to say you get dollar sign. So you get the dollar sign, the number sign. You get the number signs here when the column is too narrow, so you have to widen it out a little bit. So to just do that easier, you kind of put the cursor on the line between it. When you see the cursor turn that double arrow like that with the two black arrows, you kind of double click, and it will automatically align it to the closest point for you. So you can just double click on the lines like that, automatic. Alright, and that will bring it in neat like this. Bear in mind, I don't, almost everything almost hold in one view. Like I have most of mine in one view like this. I understand that some of you probably have your names a little bit longer than my names. Some of you, if I zoom it in or zoom it out, it will hold everything. But that's not to say that yours must be like that. Alright? I understand that some of your names might be longer depending on how you did yours, as whatever the case is. But the main thing I'm saying is that to make it neat, so just bring in some of these columns where they can bring in. This can't come in anymore because as you can see the heading, the words up here, make the column can go in the closer. But I trust that you understand what I'm saying right there. Alright? In addition to that, put in the borders. Like I said, I have these lines here, so before, let me see if I can do it. So before it was probably looking something like that. Okay, you just type it out straight like that. Alright, so I want to put in the lines to make it come up like this. So I'm gonna call the borders, so I can block all of my data. So wherever I block, that's the area that's going to get the borders, and I can go here and I can select all borders. So as you can see, some of them will just do the outline for the entire outline here, so but this one is going to do all of the cells as well. So if I click all borders, it come up like that. Alright, and I can get a thicker border for the outline, just for the outline alone, by going here. So I'm gonna get a thicker border like that. Alright, I think I also had a thicker border for the symptoms as well, so it looks like that. Alright, you can put a column for your heading and bold the headings up here, so don't use any big flashy font or anything like that, or keep your font simple because you can see the same font size, the headings here, so just have to put them at bold, the same size, and I can put a nice yellow to highlight it. Don't put any bright red or anything that I can't read. So let me show you an example. So you see, you put something like that, it make it difficult for you to read it, right? So if you put something like that, now you have to counteract it. The word color with a brighter color to make it show and things like that. No bother complicate yourself like that. You're not going to get any extra mark for that. Just make sure that it's have a nice highlight just for the presentation, and you get that presentation mark, and you'll be good, right? For your R30. So that is the admittance. Let me go on. Admittance 1, admittance 2, and admittance 3, right? And then the key up to this point. Alright? Good. So let me just show you the final pieces to complete this now. There's a question here that says to extract, where is it? Right here. So it's saying that the financial director needs a list of all intensive care patients. So let me just highlight that. Intensive care patients that do not have insurance. So if they are intensive care and they don't have insurance, then you need to extract that data. So extract all the data for these patients and place them on a new sheet with the title ICU Patients Assistance. Alright? So I'm going to do that. So we want a list of basically we just want a list of all the intensive care patients that have no insurance. Right? One way that you might look at it is to just go through and look at it one and identify them and copy and paste it. But imagine if this was a real company and you had thousands of patients, it would be next to impossible for you to go through and do that. Right? So there are ways and means of doing it. So they say that we want the intensive care persons and those who have no insurance, right? So I'm going to copy my intensive care heading, just the heading. Watch what I'm doing. I'm going to copy it, paste the heading right there, just as it is, exactly as it is. I'm going to also copy the insurance because it asks for those who don't have insurance. So I'm just copying the heading for the insurance. So what I'm going to tell the computer to do is to look in these two columns to identify those that match the criteria. So I want for the insurance, I want those who have none, right? And this will be dependent on how you had put in yours. So make sure that if you have none, like I maybe put in none for mine, for the no, is none you have. Right? If you put in no, then you would check for no here, son. Likewise, I am looking for all those who are intensive care. I mean that I want all those who are like that. Make sure that you type it exact, because what the computer is going to do is going to look through here so for the exact match. Meaning if you have it join like that, it's not going to recognize this with the same thing as this because there's a space there. Also, so when you have a style, when you finish typing, and have a style for press space one more time to get that extra space here. So if you come off anything you don't see it, the computer recognizes it. So it's looking at this and it's looking at this as two different things. Right? So the intensive care here so and the intensive care here so is two different things because you have an extra space on it that you shouldn't have there. Right? So just make sure you don't have, so make sure that is copied exact. Right? If you are uncertain, remember that this is coming from, this information is coming from the key. So if you want to make sure those extra, make sure that it's the same thing, it's coming from right here. So you can just copy it from here so and paste it here so, and it becomes the same exact thing. All right, so we'll make sure that what we have here so is what we have in our data. All right, so this becomes my criteria, and I want to label this because this is going to be an important part of how you're going to get the marks. This is going to show me when you have this criteria down here, so this shows me that you did the correct steps to get this process. Right, you never go through and count it one and copy and paste it out. You did the correct steps to get the information that you want. So this is going to be your criteria. Yeah, this is going to be a criteria. This is going to be a data that you're looking at. Right, so let's go ahead and try this now. So to get this now, I'm going to use a filter, but not just a filter. I'm going to go to data, not just a filter. I want to use an advanced filter. It's going to give me some features that I want. When I click on advanced filter, I see this box come up here. So, right, it's giving me some options or some things to fill out. First thing it's asking me, filter the list in place, which is this entire list here. So, if I filter this, it's going to delete the data it's going to extract the data that I don't want and only display the data that I want. I don't want it like this. I want this data up here to remain the same, and I want it to give me the extracted data on a different list. So I'm going to say copy to another location. Right, very important. The list range is where I am looking. So in my case, I am looking all the way from first name right here. So I'm going to click first name, hold it down, and I'm covering everything going down, all the 30 names covered, and go all the way across. So you're covering everything. So you're supposed to see the lines running across my screen now. So I'm covering from the heading with first name all the way down to the last name in the list, all the way over to the last set of data. So what this means is that when I do the extraction, it's going to give me all of this information for each person that meets my criteria. If I just cut it off here, so it will just give me this information alone for the person that meets my criteria. Alright? The criteria range now is this that I just created down here. So I'm just going to block all of this like this. So this is now becomes my criteria. Alright? Copy to is a blank space that I want the data to go to now. So I can just go right here, so right here, copy to in the blank space. So that's my copy to, right? So I have a copy to another location, I have the list range, the criteria, and the copy to. So when I press OK now, the computer is going to look through everything here, so in these columns, the intensive care column and the ministry columns, is going to look for every person that has intensive care and has no insurance, and it's going to create that list down here. So I'll show all of the details for those persons down here. So when I press OK now, I should see that. Excellent. So you see, this is the only, so when you'll see here that only one person come up here. So what this means is that is only one person meets the criteria that have no insurance and intensive care. And I can look through my list and confirm that, because I want only the persons who have no insurance and intensive care. And when I look through my list here, so for none, that's isolation, none, that's isolation, none, that's isolation. So none intensive care for West. So this is the only person that meets the criteria, right? So bear in mind when you do yours, you might see 4 or 5 people come up, whatever, based on how many persons have no insurance and are intensive care. In my case, it was only one. That's why only one person come up here. So this is perfectly fine for me. So what I want to do now, I'm going to copy this information now to a new sheet, just as I was instructed to. Let's look back at the instructions where it says extract all the data for these patients and place them on a new sheet with the title ICU Patient Assistance. Ensure that you calculate and highlight the overall total to be paid. Right, so I'm going to put all of this information here. So I'm going to copy it, cut it, I'm going to cut it and paste it on a new sheet here. So this is my data, what I want. This is some of the columns showing a number sign. That means that the columns are too narrow, so we have to kind of widen them out a bit. And this is exactly what I want, right? And it's said to have ICU patient assistance for the heading. So it's going to be ICU patient assistance. Remember, I want the same heading as these, so I want to copy this heading as well. I want all of my sheets to look nice and presentable, so I want to copy this one like this, and then I'm going to make this one. So this was what, size 20. Can make this one size 18. And I'm going to merge and center it like that, right? So as I said, bear in mind when you do yours, you might have 4 or 3 persons in here. I only have one because only one person met the criteria for mine. Important, make sure you copy over the criteria as well, because this is going to show me that you use a criteria to do this. So if you copy this alone and bring, and you leave off the criteria, I'm going to think that it just copy it out of the list. I'm going to think that it just went in and just copy it from here, so, and you never do the extraction. So it's important, ensure that you have the criteria on it as well to show that that is how you did it. And then this is the next set of marks right here. So you see you're on the way and you're set. So let's run through quickly. These are the coverage with the data already. Alright, so this section now, I was hoping that you guys would have filled out on your own, using your own imagination, because this part was so easy. What we say uno do is uno just type it, uno just look through the spreadsheet, how many people have fever, and you just type in the number, which is what I wanted. I wanted you to use the proper formulas and functions. Alright, so disappointed that you didn't make a good attempt here. So I'm just going to just show you. So what you have to bear in mind, students, I can't show you everything. Because if I show you everything, then I can't mark you for it. So I can't mark you for something that I showed you to do, if you get what I'm saying. So if I show you exactly how to do it, all you're going to do is copy what I am doing. So that's not showing me that you are able to do it for yourself. You understand? So what you're doing is reducing the amount of marks that I can possibly give you for some of these sections when I have to show you to do it. Alright? Alright, so I put it in around here, so I put it as part of my key sheet. You know what, a matter of fact, you're not supposed to be part of your key sheet, but right? You should have had a new sheet here, so let me tidy up this quickly because it's so maybe probably one line. So this was the extraction sheet. This now will be your summary sheet. Alright, so I want to copy all of this. I don't want to cut it, I want to copy it because I just want to show you what to do. Alright, so this is just summary. Again, I need my headings because that is an important part of it. Alright, when the sheet isn't as wide, you don't need to make the heading as wide. So in this case, I can make it to that, to there, so. And I can take off some of this border because I won't need it out there. And I can just make it there. Put back my logo, and I'm good. Alright, so what this sheet is asking now is how many persons have fever, how many persons have cough, how many persons have respiratory problems. We're supposed to throw data because we can see how many people have fever. All of the persons here show that Y have fever. Alright? So in case you're wondering how you're going to do that now, remember how we did this one. Remember we did the number of symptoms, we did a count if, and then we say from C6 to E6, C6 to E6, and then we counted all of the Y's. So it's the same thing. So in this case, we're just counting all of the fevers going down. Alright? So for the fever, I can say equal count if, open bracket, and I can just from here, from once I have the cursor activated here, I can just go over to my admittance sheet and I can highlight all of the fever column like this. And while I'm still in it, don't come out yet, just press comma. You put in the quotation because you want to count all the Y's. Close bracket quotation, close bracket bracket, and enter. When I press enter here, it's going to flip back to the original screen and show me the total. So you see, I have 13 here. So I can do the same thing for the cough and the respiratory problem. I can do the same thing for MOE because you just do a count for the MOE as well. See it here? Get out of MOH, sorry. Not MOE now there, so. Sorry, it's supposed to be MOH. Sorry. So for the surgical, once the data exists, I can count it. So I can count all of the surgical in here so I get that. I can count all of the MOH and get it. I can count all of the none and get the amount of persons who have none as well. Same thing for the isolation, same thing for the intensive care. So you're pretty much using a count if to do all of these here, so right? Average days, we know for the average, equal average. So we just say equal average and we cover all of the days. Equal average and cover all of the days and we get that. Alright? Shouldn't be a problem. Alright? So let's go back here, so once you fill out this information, let me just pause for 1 second. Good. So I have all of that information coming now. So the next question is, use the data from a spreadsheet to create a pie chart to compare all expenses and their totals. So here we have it. We already have no, we can have the expense. Right, good. So here we have it. Already on here, so we have all of our expenses up here, so the 4 expenses, and then we have the totals down here, so it's just a matter of creating the chart. So we have to highlight the heading and we have to highlight the total. Right, so we highlight the heading, use our mouse, highlight the heading, the 4 headings, hold on control, highlight the 4 totals down at the bottom, then we go to insert, pie chart, and we're making our pie chart right here. Alright, So this is what it's going to come up. It's supposed to show the pie chart with the 4 expenses here. And so we can go to design while we have the pie chart selected. So we'll select the pie chart, go to design, and we can select how we want the display to come out. So I want it to look like this. So I want a heading, I want the percent in here. So this is going to be showing expenses, pie chart showing expenses. I can take it a step further by messing around with this. So you can look at it for yourself, because I don't want to tell you exactly how to get everything and everybody want to look the same way. So I want some of them to have in the amount of money. So it's the money down here. So I don't want it to show the percent. I want it to show the money, the total in it as well. So when you finish, I want it to look like, let me find one show you. I want it to look like this. Okay, so this one have the money in it like this, and it have the key over here, so showing you what each color stands for, and it have the heading up here. So if you do a pie chart like this, then you get full marks. So it's just showing the percent, the total that each slice represents, key over here, so and the heading. So if you do it like that, you will get the full marks. So how I did it a while ago was to show you the basics. So once you have the basics, you can click on it, you can go to your layout, and you can mess with the legend, the data labels, the titles. You can go through all of them until you get it. I honestly don't want to tell you, because I don't want you just everybody want to see same way and then all they come with the same exact looking thing. Alright. If you're going to change the colors as well, don't use any black and depressing grey looking color like them there or anything like that. Don't use anything in the background that look like that. Don't like that. Make sure you have white background, and then you use different colors to represent each one. Alright. So it's looking good like this. You just have to want the other features in it that I spoke about. So once you have all of this, well, sorry, let me finish that. So when it finishes, you can just cut this, just right click, cut the pie chart from here, so, and place it into your key sheet. So you can put it on the bottom or to the side of your key sheet right here, so, and you should be good. Alright, so once you have everything that I have just explained to you a while ago, let me just verify that I have covered everything. So we should have a full marks SBA. So cover everything that you have here, and you should be good. Submit it back to me on the email address that I given to you. That will be at, the email address will be information technology sb at gmail. So email it back to that, and then we should be good. All right, thanks.